Hi, my name is Tim Cooper, and today I'm going to show you how to create an XML-based user login and registration system. Usually when you're learning PHP, one of the first projects you do is how to make a user registration system in MySQL. I'm doing it in XML mainly to show you the differences between XML and MySQL and how you can use XML if you don't need a big database system like MySQL for smaller projects. So if you think XML might be good for a small project you're doing, great. Alright, let's get started. Since we're not doing MySQL, we don't need to go into PHP or another database administration software like that. It's all going to be with the file system. So let's just go down to our project folder. We're going to create a new folder called users. This is going to house all of our user XML files. I'm just going to drag in a .htaccess file into that users folder. This is going to be for controlling. This is going to be for controlling access to the folder, and in that folder, I'm going to put deny from all. That denies access to the folder. So it doesn't show up here, and if you try to go to it, it doesn't let you. Alright, let's make our first user XML file. We're going to call this user test.xml. We're going to open that with our editor. It's the structure of the XML file is going to go like this. We're going to have a node called user. We're going to close that off. And we're going to have two child nodes in there called password and email. Email is pretty straightforward. It's just going to be like so. The password is going to be an MD5 hash of the user's password. So right now I'm just going to make a quick PHP script that's going to create a hash for us. Let's call it hash.php. I'm just going to echo out MD5 of 12345. That's going to be our password for the user test. So there's our hash. I'm just going to copy that and place it in that file. Close that out and delete this full file. That's going to be automated later on in the registration file, and we'll get to that later. Alright, so we got this user set up. Now we have to set up a login page. Go back, create a login.php file, drag that in. I'm going to copy the standard HTML template file, which we're going to be using throughout the project. Create a quick little heading here. Let's call it login. Now let's create our form. The form method is going to be post. The action is going to be to the current page, so just leave that blank. Now let's create our elements. We need a input box for usernames. Let's create our label. <clears throat> 20 is a good size. Let's copy that. Let's call it password. It's going to be a password box, and its name is going to be password. Good. Alright, now let's create the last form element, which is going to be our button that will submit the form. Just have a look at that. Go back, log in. That looks good. It's very basic. If you want to add some CSS later on to make it look nicer, feel free to do so. Okay, now right under this, I'm just going to create a link to the register page. It's not existent yet, but it will be in a few minutes. So register. Now let's create our PHP for this. So we want an if statement. So we're going to check if is set post login. Now it's going to check to see if that button has been pressed. And we're going to create a variable called username, which is going to be post username, password, which is going to be an MD5 hash of post password. Okay, I'm going to do one quick thing here. I'm going to use preg replace and some regex here, which will remove every character except A to Z. And I'm doing that because if we allow characters like a period or slash into the username, and when we're checking to see if the user exists, they'll be able to manipulate the file system layers. So we don't want that. We just want them to type in username that consists of alpha characters. So right now we're going to check to see if the user exists in the system. We're going to do file exists. And the folder is users / their username .xml. So if it exists, then they got it. Alright, so now we're going to do we're going to create a new object, sorry. It's called simple XML element. Let's just go to the PHP document, the construct function here. You'll see that the first parameter is either XML string or an XML or a location to an XML file. That's what we want. And we have to set the third parameter to true, telling it that it is a location. So let's do that. So the location of the XML file is that. We can just put 0 for the second parameter, set the third parameter to true. Now I'm just going to run print r on this object just to show you what properties are in that object. So let's just put in test, and there what we see is we have password and we have the email and it got that from our XML file, which is good. So now let's do a little comparison here to check if the password that's inputted is equal to XML password. If it is, then it's good. Let's try that out. Test 1, 2, 3. That's not the password. It shouldn't show anything, and it doesn't. Let's try test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It did, so it displays good. Okay, let's remove that. We're going to be using sessions to store the data that's from the user that's logged in. So let's do session start, then set the session username equals username. Let's put the header location to index.php. That's going to be the main page where the user will be. I'm just going to add a little thing down here. This is going to show an error message if they inputted anything wrong. So let's put error equals true, error equals false. So it'll initially be false, but if it skips any of these steps, it'll turn on the error and will show that message to the user. So yeah, that's good. Let's just log in right now. So test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, log in. It's not found, so let's create it right now. Index.php, open that up, copy our template file, user page, let's create a heading, close that out, heading 2, let's put welcome and then their username, let's echo that out, session username. Let's see if this works. Oh. Yeah, we have to, I forgot to initialize the session up here. So let's do that. Let's do session start. And it should work. Yep. Now we have to add a little thing up here that will authenticate to make sure they're actually logged in. So we're going to use this little code here. So if file exists, session, username. So if it doesn't exist, that little exclamation point means if it doesn't exist, we're going to send them back to the login page. Because we don't want them on here if they're not logged in properly. Let's see this, we're still logged in, so it didn't boot us back. Let's just add a link to a logout page at the bottom of the users page. Let's create that now. Logout.php. Start the session. Destroy the session. And send them to login. Good. Close that out. Let's test it out. We have a logout. Let's try to go to index.php. Doesn't exist. That's good. Okay. So let's log in. Let's not log in. What we're going to do is work on a registration page right now. Let's do register.php. Whoop. Notepad++. Copy our template. That's the last time we're using that. So let's do register. Good. Let's create our heading. Register. And our form. We're going to ask them for a username to put in. And we're also going to ask for an email address and a password and a confirmed password. Email, password, confirm password. Just fill this out here. Email, password. It's a password field. Same with this. And let's call it C_password. So when just a button to submit it. Submit. Close off that paragraph. And good. Alright, now let's make our PHP for this. Same with the login. If is set, post login. We're going to grab the username. We can just copy the snippet that was on the login page. So you do want to do that regex on it. Let's get the email. Let's grab the password. We're not going to hash it yet. We're just going to grab it. Let's get C password. Alright, so first, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create an array called errors. It's going to hold all the errors that may have occurred when the user was filling out our form. And now I'm going to do my conditions here, and if any of them fail the testing, it's going to add a new item to the array with the error statement in it, and then we'll output that to the user after. So we're going to first check to see if, I'll copy this here, if file exists, Add a new item to the array. User exists. Okay. Next one, email. Let's just check if it's blank. Let's see if the passwords are blank. And I'll just see if password equals the other does not equal. And I'll see if they're equal. Passwords do not match. That's good. And you can add in other things like validating if it's a correct email address or if the password is like 6 characters in length or not. You can do that later on. Next, if there's no errors, so let's count the errors array. If it equals 0, meaning there's no errors with our form, we can go ahead and create a user file. Let's do that. First, we're going to create our new simple XML element. And it's going to be it's going to be user/user. So we just got one node in there. It's an XML string, so we don't have to put a third parameter to true. So that's good. Now we're going to use the method. We're going to call the method. Let's just look at the documentation for it. Add child. The first parameter is the name of the child, and the second is the value. So we're going to do add child. If we look at our XML file, it's password and email. So let's do that. Password is equal to MD5 password input. XML add child email is equal to the email address. Good. Now we want to echo or save that rather to a file. We do that by calling as XML. Let's just look at the documentation for that. Returns a format XML string. So the first parameter is optional. The first parameter is a file name that you'll save it to. We do want that. So what we're going to do is set the file name. So it'd be users/ the username .xml. And there we go. It's saved. We'll just add this right here, which will send them to the login page after they created their user. And we're just going to add a little code in here that will output the errors to the user if there is any on the form. And it's going to output it to an unordered list. So let's loop through all the errors that we have and create and output a list item. Let's just give that a try. So let's just leave everything blank. There we go. Just add another quick thing in here. If username equals blank, let's add a new username is blank. Okay. So let's just try creating a new user and see if it works. Let's call the user Tim, email tim@example.org. Password's going to be 123, confirm it, 123. Sends us to the login page. Let's check our user's file to make sure it's there. It is, and there we go. That's correct. Let's close that out. Let's try logging in now. Tim123, and we're logged in. I'm going to add another. We're done with register, sorry. And I'm just going to add a table into the user's file to make sure it works. And this will output all the users that are in the system. Let's create a few headings here. Username and email. Let's add our PHP. We're going to use the glob function that will get all the XML files in the users folder. And it's an array, so we're going to do for each files as, let's call it F, or no, file. And we're going to create our simple XML element again. We're going to use this a lot. Simple XML element. It's the file. Put the second parameter to 0, third to true because it is a location of a file. And let's echo it out. This table row, table cell. First cell is the name. To get that, we're going to use the function called base name. What that does is it returns the file name from a location string. So file. If we put the second parameter to the extension, it'll remove the extension for us, which is what we want because we don't want XML on the users' names. So we got that there. And now let's get their email address. So it'll be XML email. So let's give this a go and see if it works. And it did. Both our users are in here, and we're good to go. Right now I'm going to create a login, a password changing page. Let's do that. Change password. Let's open that up. Let's just copy this because we're going to use part of this. Let's do this. Change password. Let's put this link to index.php. Let's add our form. It's going to be post. The action is to itself again. And we're going to want old password and confirm new passwords. So let's put password. New password. And confirm new password. So C password, N password. Let's do C N password, and a button that will submit. Type submit, name, change, and value. Let's put the change password. I'll just see if that looks okay. I'm just going to create a link on index.php to change password. That's good. Okay. Now let's do that. Let's create our logic up here. If is set. We're going to do this after the post, or after the checking to see if they're logged in. Post, change. We're going to grab old equals MD5. Post O underscore password new equals MD5 post n underscore password. C new equals MD5 post C underscore n underscore password. Make sure that's all correct. It is. Yep. Okay. So first, let's create our XML element. Simple XML element. We need this to check to make sure their old password is correct. So the location would be users/session username .xml 0 true. Okay. So if old equals XML password, and let's put another if in here. If new equals C underscore new, then we're going to do that by this XML password equals new. So this will update the password in XML file new, and we have to save that. So we're going to do as XML and output that again. Looks good. Let's put the header to log out because we want them to log out after they change their password. Okay. Now, if they get it wrong, let's just do an error thing like we did with their old thing. Okay, if there's an error, so if error, we're going to echo out some of the passwords do not match. Good. So let's give it a go. See if this works. Let's see. My old password for this would be 123. Let's set it to 1234. 1234. 1234. Change password. Let's try logging in with 123. Does not work. Tim 1234. And it works. So it works. It's all good. Okay, that's the end of the tutorial. Thank you for watching.